Welcome to another week, an edition of Family Life with Mama Rita. I hope you are taking very good care of yourself, especially those of you in Africa. People are assuming that the COVID is gone. Please take good care of yourself. I don't know what is happening, but it looks like we need to pray more. Just when we are about to relax and we think everything is over, then another variant comes up. Please continue to wash your masks, continue to wear your masks, wash your hands, and then have social distancing when you go out. Please, the world needs you alive. The best is yet to start. Don't die now. I don't want to lose you. Because if I lose you, there'll be nobody who will be watching Family Life. So please, let's all take very good care of ourselves. Last week, the guys loaded. I had Reverend Major Retired Joe Chum, and I promised you that if you are good, I'm going to bring him back. I think you were good. So I am still here in New York. And this time, guess who the new guest is? Mama Betty Chum. And pleasure is mine to welcome Pastor Reverend and Pastor Mrs. Joe Chum. Please welcome.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, Mommy.
The messages I got last week, you have no idea.
Thank you.
People are loving you. And they kept saying, Mommy, bring him back. He's so loaded. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show one more time.
Thank you.
Mama Betty, you are welcome.
Thank you, Mommy.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
And I can see the gold inside. It means you are still celebrating Jubilee.
Yes.
You don't look 50 at all.
Thank you.
Last week, was it last week or last 2 weeks? Mama Betty celebrated 50 years. Jubilee. Hey! Welcome to the club. Please start taking vitamins. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. You need it.
Yes.
After 50, things change. I don't want to scare you.
Thank you, Mommy.
Anyway, I've always loved the story of how you met. I've always loved that story. Please, tell my audience how you met.
Thank you very much, Mommy. I think I'll ask Betty to say it, because I've said it a couple of times.
Oh, I want to hear it from you. And then
okay.
she will come in if you forget something.
Because you told Mommy.
We first met each other in 1982
Wow.
when we moved from where we used to live in Osu. My father retired, so we moved to Labadi, and we were next door neighbors.
Oh, next door neighbors.
Yes. we're
Wow,
next
you
door
see,
neighbors.
it's good because this one I don't know. I didn't know. I knew you used to live in the same neighborhood, but not next door
We're
neighbors.
next door neighbors, so I always passed in front of their house.
Okay.
And I was a very, very nice young man,
Hey.
very neat.
Hey.
I used to attend my school. We used to wear white and blue, and anytime I'm going, the mother used to admire me a lot.
Wow.
So one day I was going, and the mother said she wants me to help her daughter in school. Betty was also in a school in Burma camp. So most of the time in the evenings, she'll come to us. I hadn't gone to secondary school yet. No. We were both went to secondary schools.
Okay.
So we used to study together. The mother asked her to come, so she'll come to my house at night and we will study.
Wow.
And
This
after
is
that-
before secondary school.
Before secondary school, yes. So I think the following year, I sat my common entrance and I went to the secondary school, which was still coming to me to study. And I remember one day, she was given an assignment to write an essay. And she came and I taught her the essay, and it was judged the best in the school.
Wow.
So it was read to the whole school. And that made my stock to go very high
Yes.
in her family. And so the mother was very, very proud of me, and we continued like that until such time that she also sat common entrance
Okay.
and went to and passed the exams. But she had chosen Ebri Girls and other schools, and she qualified for Ebri Girls and my school, Laboni, as a second choice, and then another school. But fortunately for me, and unfortunately for her, she had gone to visit the daddy somewhere. And so when the results came and we're going through the process of admission to secondary school, the mother came to me and said, the mother had so much confidence in me. So he said, this is what is happening. She has passed Ebri Girls, she's got the letter, and Laboni. I told the mother, no, Ebri Girls is too far. We can't monitor her. So let her come to my school. I'll take care of her for you.
And monitor her.
So I honestly didn't have any.
Okay.
Yes, because we're like sisters, a sister and a brother. So the mother went with me that day to Laboni.
Okay.
So I went with her, and then she did all the processes, paid the school fees and everything before she came back. So she was coming back thinking that she was going to Every Girls. The mother said, no, your brother said you want to be in the same school with you. So, and she also agreed. And so we're in the school together.
You were still teaching.
We're still teaching everything. The whole school thought she was my sibling, my sister, my younger sister. Then I finished with my Form 5, and I came back to sixth form in the same school as a senior prefect. I think that time she was in Form 4 or Form 5. So I was a senior prefect of the school at that time. So
you started leadership long time. Wow.
Yeah. So anytime she did something, they say, SP, your sister. So we're there practicing very good things in school. And she was doing very well because my eyes were always on her, making sure that she was studying. She was in good association.
Spirit was
telling me that this is mine. I have to take good care of it. And so I graduated from, when I completed sixth form, I went to the military academy.
okay.
So she was still in Laboni, I think Form 4, Form 5. Then in military academy, we're asked to, just as very young cadets, we're given a chance to go home one Thursday to bring our girlfriends for a dance. And I didn't have, so when I came home, the next day I went to school, I went to academy. Saturday, nobody came, so we're punished. 2 weeks later, we're
punished for not bringing anybody
any girl.
For entertainment.
Yes, those of us who didn't have. So the following 2 weeks later, we're given a chance to come back and look for a girl and bring. So when I was coming home, I met her. I said, Abena, there's in my school, I want you to come there. He said, no, go and tell your mom, my mom. I said, okay. So I went to the house. I told the mom that there's a program going on in the military academy and we are supposed to come with a girl. So, and the mother said, she's your sister, so go with her.
Wow.
So that Saturday, I gave her money and everything. So she picked a taxi and came to military academy. But as we were sitting down that very day, I just heard a voice. I said, I'll marry you. And that was the first time. I said, I'll marry you. He said,
you told her?
Yes. I remember very well. I said, I'll marry you. He said, okay, then we have to go and tell my mother. And let me finish.
Can you imagine?
So,
Then she was still in Laboni secondary school.
She hadn't even finished Form 5 yet.
Wow.
I think she was in Form 4 or something. And I was that was in 89, it's 990. And so she started.
Form 4, that would be grade.
I think grade 10.
Grade 10 here. Yeah. Wow.
So I graduated, then I was posted to my unit.
My darling, I hope you are listening. You see, sometimes we make our daughters miss good men because we either think they are too young, they are still in school and all that. Once you are supervising them and making sure that they are not being naughty, they are not in the room alone and all that, and you are guiding them, I believe that it will go a long way to help our children. Sometimes I've met parents who said, you are too young, somebody can tell you, I'll marry you, and then by the time we realize the person is done with secondary school, is done with university, out of university, they get jobs, and they still don't have anybody. Then now you are running to pastors for deliverance. Betty's mom, I think, was very wise. Yes. Wow. And she was a very good girl too, because immediately you told her, she said, then let's go and see my mom.
So I think she left in the academy, so she came home and told her mom. The mom said she has to wait. I said, yes, I told him I have to wait. And so I graduated and I was posted to Sunyani. Then she completed Form 5,
Okay.
continued to 6th form.
Okay.
So because I was in Sunyani, she planned that in 6th form she would do her national service in Sunyani when she's done with 6th form.
Wow.
So when she was done with 6th form, she was posted to Sunyani. But unfortunately for her, the day she arrived, I had been deployed to Rwanda.
Oh.
And so for the 1 year for her national service, she stayed in Sunyani without me.
Wow.
And when I came back, she had decided to stay in Sunyani now. I think that was in 94 to 95. And so she had always had a purpose of becoming a banker.
Okay.
And so she had started working with the rural bank, a rural bank in the place. And so we decided that then we need to formalize everything.
Wow.
And so we saw the parents, I saw my parents, and then we went to Accra and then did all that we're supposed to do and had our very, very little wedding in Sunyani.
Oh, in Sunyani?
Yeah, we had our wedding in Sunyani.
So her mom and everybody
came,
to Sunyani.
including Pastor
Gideon was there, and we had everything there, and we started our family. So I see it as hard work because I did a lot for her. I taught her. I used to help her to shower, and a lot of other things that I don't want to say on the line.
Wow, you showed everything.
Everything, how to brush your teeth, and a lot more. And today, this is my hand.
Wow. Wow. Mama Betty, is there anything he left out? Or
No.
is there anything you want to add to it?
So I saw him as a big brother, and then, of course, I grew up from a single family parent home, so there was no father figure. So I was also looking up to him. So everything he said
So
is right.
brother,
father, uncle,
Teacher,
coach. So I call him life coach.
Wow. Wow. I love these stories.
Because of that, we did the same subjects in A level also.
Can you imagine?
Because I don't have to teach her, and I have to teach her what I know.
So you've been teaching her since she was in primary school?
Primary
actually?
school,
yes.
Garrison, yeah.
Garrison.
Garrison through Labmoni, 6th form.
And even all her degree courses we did together. Because we understand that we have to support each other.
Wow. I believe this is why you've come a long way, and this is why your marriage is very solid. They go to the club, meet somebody, and that is it.
Yeah.
I love this. I've heard it. I never get tired of listening to this story. Whew. Mama Betty, I'm going to ask you a very sensitive question. I know you've gotten over it. My topic, actually, the new series I want to do is about pregnancy, about children, the different kinds of children we can have, adopted children, biological children, stepchildren, all that. When you marry without children, what to do, how to feel, and blah, 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 blah. So today is actually an introduction to what I'll be doing. How long have you been married?
We turned 26 in April. Just
26 in April?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Do you have children?
No, I don't have any biological children, but I raised my brother as a child. I mean,
Okay.
I raised him. He's my younger brother because I was like 12 before he was born. And so I felt like my mother gave birth to him for me.
Okay.
And so I was the one that bathed him, did everything for him, like the mother. Because my mother used to go to Togo. She was a teacher, but she will also have to do other things because she's by herself. So then my brother now, Pastor Gideon, was my baby.
Wow.
I don't have any biological children, but anytime I think about Pastor Gideon, I see him more of a child to me than a brother.
Wow. I remember your 50th birthday. he's saying that you are not just a sister to him, but you're also a mother, because he remembers when he was also in Labonin Secondary School, when you were paying his school fees. Sometimes your whole salary will go into his school fees. So he doesn't just see you as a sister, but also sees you as a mother. So, you've done well.
I can see. So.
Yeah, you can.
Sure. So, so I'm the first born of 3 children.
Okay.
And so growing up, even when I completed 6th form, I had good grades.
Okay.
But I told myself, I'm not going to go to university right away because I wanted to support my mother.
Wow.
Because she was just by herself trying to raise all of us.
Wow.
So I put my university on hold, and that's when I looked for a job in a bank.
Wow.
And so that I'll be able to support my siblings.
Wow.
So yeah, I've always done that.
Wow. You've been a very, very good firstborn. Very good firstborn. So, how have you been able to sail through marrying 26 years without children? I know women are moving from deliverance center to deliverance center, from shrine to shrine. Every month they are crying, they are angry at God, they are angry at everybody. I believe there's somebody watching us today who's been married without children. How were you able to sail through it, and how are you coping?
Thank you so much for that. Mommy, I want to thank God for the Apostle General and Royal House Chapel and yourself. Because when I got married, I think 2 years right after I got married is when we started Royal House Chapel. So it's been 24 years. Okay. And proud to that, the first 2 years was very, very challenging. I could cry.
Especially from our side of the world. Mother-in-law is waiting, your mom is waiting, aunties are waiting, and people are counting. And anytime they see you, they are looking at your stomach. Some want to ask questions, they don't. Some people are bold and they'll come to you and ask you, so what are you waiting for? When are my grandchildren coming? And I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
So first 2 years.
Yeah. First 2 years was very challenging. Those were my years of crying and going to the hospitals and doing all the surgeries. And I was really eager to have a child. I always wanted a child. I just love children. So I've always wanted a child. But the first 2 years didn't happen, and God directed our path into Royal House Chapel. Okay. And for me, I think my strength that I have right now, or what I've been through, I gained the strength from just being a member of Royal House Chapel and sitting under the feet of the Apostle General and you, Mama Rita. So thank you. The prayers, the word, like sometimes I'm coming to church and I'm crying, but as soon as I get to church and I hear Apostle General preach, it's like I have a child already. Oh, wow. Like I get so much faith, and so that really has helped me just finding myself at the right place at the right time. So I mean, when I came, I received a lot of prophecies. I've been prayed upon that I'm going to have a child. I remember one day the Apostle General told me, you're going to have a lot of children. And I believe it, and I keep believing it, and I keep believing it. But then, as my husband was in the army and he kept traveling all the time, and at some point we'll go to to see gynecologists, but then he's not there. And then my doctor would say, it takes two to do this. So every time you come and we do some medication, and then your husband travels. And so it became very, very challenging for us. And so one of these days, that's the reason why I decided to travel to America. He had gone to one of his trips, and then I said, like you're saying, people are asking you questions. When are you going to have children and all that? So I said, let me go into hiding.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when I decided and I started talking to him. I think I want to travel outside. And I was thinking that America is everything. When I come here, everything's going to be. No, I also believe in their medicine because I did my research.
Okay.
And I said, oh, I think when I come here, I'm going to be successful with this treatment. And I was praying that at some point that he will retire or leave the army, and then he will also join me. So I came here 2 years before he came here. And one of the days I was in my room praying and crying and praying and crying. And then I fell into a trance. Then I saw a very, very huge man, very huge. I remember this very clearly, in white. And he told me specifically, stop crying for children and pray for others who need children.
Wow.
That I shouldn't pray for myself again for children. I had come here, life was rough, and I was in my room. I used to fast and pray a lot. That's when I got that revelation. So I told God, okay, I mean, if this is from you, then I'm going to pick one woman that I was trusting God with back home in the military. I don't want to mention name, but I said, I'm going to pray. If you have called me to pray for other women, then I'm going to use this person as
point of contact.
Point of reference.
Oh, as a test case.
Yes, as a test case. So then I began to pray. I was praying for her, but I began to pray for her more. And I told God, I want to see this happen for her so that it can confirm that indeed you are the one that I saw and you told me to stop crying about children. And mommy, lo and behold, I was over here and I heard that she's taking seed after so long of trying to have a child.
Wow.
She even came here to have a baby.
Wow.
And I was there to be part of her outdooring. And so I think I got my healing after I got that revelation with prayers and being one in the dream that stop crying for children. So I think that began my healing process.
Wow.
And my faith in God and my trust in God. And I think that's where that
And I know after then you've prayed for so many
people.
barren women
Yes.
to have children.
Yes.
I've seen it so many times in your church and so many times in your ministry. I saw your relationship with your brother's son's wife. You know, how you prayed and stood in for them through the pregnancy and all that. Wow. I'll come back to you, but Reverend Joe, in all of this, how did you feel?
The first time,
Every man would want to have kids and see the wife pregnant and see the wife, you know, with children. How did you feel?
of course, like you said, every man will want to have kids and see these things. But my point is that the first thing is you should ask yourself, why am I getting married to this person? Even before I became a pastor,
Okay.
my aim was not to get something from her,
Okay.
but what to make her happy.
Okay.
In marriage, we don't enter into marriage for what we will get, but what you dispense. When you give, that shows your love. The Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave. So when you love somebody, you give. So I didn't go into the marriage expecting her to give me kids. If it came, fine. But rather to make her happy and in turn gain my happiness out of it. So even though I was not even going to church, it was something that didn't bother me at all. What I always wanted to see that I come home and she will tell you, when I come, she's sad, crying, I get mad. Because I don't see why you should cry. Like the Bible says, Elkanah told the wife, am I not enough for you? That's what I felt. And so it was not anything that I thought of twice. But my aim was to make her happy and also to protect her against family. And so my mother will tell you, I never allowed anybody to ask me about our child, why we don't have kids. Because that is not anybody's business. To me, it was between us, and I didn't expect more than that, than to expect love from her. So it hasn't been anything, I honestly tell you, I never even took time to pray about it. It hasn't been something that I've bothered myself praying for, God, give me a child or something. I am very happy the way I am. But another thing that I considered when I was even not in the Lord was, and I expect that men whose wives are not having kids should always ask themselves, because it is not one person, it takes two to have kids.
Yeah,
It could have happened to me
that's right.
that the doctor will have said my sperm count is low,
Low.
and I can't have kids. Does it mean that my wife should leave me,
Okay.
or my wife should go have a kid with another person, or my wife should be worried about me or be angry at me? And so I always look at it from that perspective, that if it is me, what will she do? She'll have to comfort me and make me happy and let me know that she likes me just the way I am. And with that mind and with that idea, I told myself I won't. Number 3, as I came into the light, I realized that whatever God does for you, He has a reason.
A reason.
And I believe that if we even had kids, we wouldn't have come this far in ministry. Because when we're moving out of America, Ghana or something, we wouldn't have, and I don't think we'll have had time to do all these things. So God Himself knew what He did. And I say categorically that I'm happy that she's saying that God answered our prayer.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't understand when God answers prayer. Sometimes you don't see the tangible thing you are asking for, but God heals you, that now He gives you that heart to accommodate the situation that you are going through. And so to me, God answered our prayer those years.
Wow.
Because He gave us, for me, if in other relationship, the man will be bothering them. A woman came to see me, that anytime she sees a period, the husband will be so angry. So angry. And so she used to come to our house. I used to be in the military at that time, and asked me if I could talk to the husband
Wow.
to accept her the way she is. So for Mama Betty, God answered her prayer long ago.
Okay.
Because God gave me a heart, the one who's supposed to bother her.
Wow.
But she didn't see it at that time, because
Wow.
it's never been a problem to me.
Okay.
And I'm happy the way I am.
Wow.
And that's how we are supposed to see our partners, because we don't expect perfection. God has, and honestly, God has blessed us in a lot of ways. And so why should I be bothered if my wife is not able to do it?
I'll come back to you. Are you done? I'll come back to you on this one. Mama Betty, listening to how you met, it means that Reverend Joe, your husband, was actually your first boyfriend.
Yes.
So you married as a virgin.
Yes.
You didn't mess around. You didn't enjoy with other men and all that. Did you or do you feel that God has disappointed you? That maybe if you have messed up and sleeping with all the guys in Laboni Secondary School, or when you had gone to Sunyani, messed up, do you think, is there a time in your life where you ever think about that God has disappointed you and God has let you down?
I had thought about that before.
Okay.
Because like when I was growing up, I prayed a prayer and said the first man that I meet should be my husband.
Okay.
That was a prayer I prayed, and I believe God answered that prayer because that's Him. And so at some point when we were not able to have a child, I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like, why is this happening to me? I see people like in where we come from in the military, people sleeping around with other people, like in the Laboni Secondary School, like you said. I didn't do all that. So I was asking myself, and I asked God. I used to ask God those questions until that encounter.
Wow.
And then I think God shut my mouth.
Wow.
So I stopped asking. But before, I used to ask
Okay.
those questions a lot.
Wow. So it means that God and church has played a big role in this.
Yes.
Because I believe, but for church, but for that encounter, in God telling you, shut your mouth, stop praying for your children, stop praying for other barren women. I believe, but for that, maybe, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe you would have been divorced and thinking that, oh, your lack could have been somewhere else and all that. So it means that church has played and God has played a role in this.
Yes, definitely. 110%.
Wow.
Yeah, because like you're saying perfectly, I would have left so what Reverend Joe hates is the crying and all those things that we do, like women that are looking for children, we get into a mood. And what my husband hated was me going into that mood. So then at some point, I remember one time he said, okay, then I should leave. And then he also, everybody, maybe when you go somewhere, you can have a child. When I go somewhere, so because I don't want to see you in this mood.
Wow.
Anytime, like he said, he was, I thank God that he was content with me.
Wow.
And that's, like he said, it's a blessing for me that God heard my prayer for giving me somebody who understands me and was content with our condition. Because like I talk to a lot of women that it's very challenging for them. So my thing was, God, if you have given me that healing or heard my prayer, that my husband is not at my neck, like other men are at other women's neck, then my job is to pray for people who are in that category, that their husbands don't understand them and they want the marriage to be dissolved, or
because a lot of people are divorced
because of child issue.
Because of child issues.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Reverend Joe, how have you been able to work out your relationship, your marriage, your friendship in spite of children? A lot of people think that children make up the home. Children make the marriage sweet and happy. If I go home and I come back, if I go out and I come back and I see children, then I am happy. Or when my wife is pregnant, goes to the labor ward, brings me a son or a daughter, then I fall in love with her more. How have you been able to work out your marriage such that, I mean, people look at you and they desire to marry? People just love your marriage. I mean, people watch you from afar and they desire that, oh, how can there be such friendship between my wife and I? How have you been able to do it?
And just like I said before, I didn't enter the marriage looking for anything.
Okay.
All that I needed was a lifetime partner to enjoy life with.
Okay.
And that is what I have.
Okay. Wow. And this decision you took even before you became born again, even before you became a church person.
Yes. And so to me, it is nothing that, I don't expect anything more.
Wow.
So I don't see my wife
without children, you are happy.
I'm happy. I'm not short of. I saw her. She made me happy. Not a child that she was going to give to will make me happy.
Okay.
And so if she attracted me into marriage, what more do I expect? Children are just blessings. They are byproducts of marriage. And so the whatever it is that attracted me to her hasn't changed.
Okay.
And so I didn't have to expect anything more. Wow. If something came, fine. If nothing came, it wouldn't decrease my love. And I don't think that my wife should have a child for me to love her more.
Okay.
That is a misconception.
Wow.
And anybody who thinks that way, that if my wife gives birth, then I'll love her more. If there are children in the home, then I would love to go home more. Ask her. I go to work. We don't have kids. I'd rather come home early when we're even in the military. When I was out on peacekeeping, I can fly to come see her for 2 days and fly back.
Wow.
When others with wives and 4 or 5 kids will not even go home.
Will not even go home.
So it is the mind and
mindset.
the relationship and the value you have on your partner. I used to come to the US because I will have to travel 5 days, and maybe I have 10 days.
Okay.
I have to travel 4 days in traveling because I'm somewhere, go to about 4 countries before I get here. And that 4 days back. So I have to come for only 2 days. And I may spend around $6,000 or $7,000 to get here. But I'll come. But my colleagues who have more kids, they will not come. So I don't believe that the children, you decide what makes you happy.
I like that.
Happiness is relative and it is defined.
I like that.
And it's connected to the person who is happy.
Wow.
And as much as somebody will drink to be happy, I will drink and I'll throw out. And so to me, and I should tell you, when I come home and I say I'm okay, I can be home all by myself. I always tell people I've adjusted to solitude for a very long time. So I can be in the house the whole day by myself, and I am happy. All that I'm doing, I'm looking for it to come home.
Wow.
And that is how we have lived, and
wow.
we are happy the way we are.
Wow. I hope there's somebody listening to me. My darling, don't let children define your life. And don't let children define your happiness. With or without children, you can be happy. With or without children, you can enjoy your marriage. We watch them from afar. I have known them, Mama Betty and Reverend Joe, for a long time. And we see that they are happy. We see Reverend Joe genuinely loves Mama Betty. I mean, genuinely. You can see it in everything he does. Genuinely loves her. Genuinely respects her. Genuinely honors her. With or without children. People have been married 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And all they are doing is sitting down, waiting for the children to come before they will be happy. Sitting down, waiting for the children to come before they would enjoy marriage. Sitting down, waiting for the children to come before they can have fun. My darling, before the children come, you met your wife. Before the children come, you met your husband. Enjoy each other. Have fun. And one thing I tell couples, we are not going to go to heaven with children. Yes, children are a blessing. If God gives it to you, praise God. I asked somebody, are you disappointed that you don't have this? He said, Mommy, why should I be disappointed? I mean, there are so many things God has given to me. Yes. God has given me life. God has given me a good job. Through school, I passed my examination through school. I have life. I can breathe. Why should I think and brood over the others that God hasn't given to me? I heard one message. God is the God of what is left.
Yeah.
We are always looking at what we don't have, and we are judging God by what we don't have. But my darling, you have more than. You have more than. God has done so much for you. This COVID period, I was chatting with somebody on Sunday, and he was telling me, he said, Mama Rita, I work in the hospital. And the hospital in which I am, every day I see more than 40 people dying. I mean, I see it. So if I am not dead and I am still alive, some of my colleagues died. But if I am alive, I need to be grateful to God. I know you don't have biological children. In other words, you don't have children of your own, but you have fathered so many people. Last week, Reverend Joe was telling me how you go for the graduations of every church member who graduates from nursery. I don't know how you call nursery here. PK. From
Pre-K.
Oh, pre what?
Pre-kindergarten.
Pre-kindergarten.
Oh, pre-kindergarten. Okay. So from, let me use your term, from pre-K. From pre-K through university, you go to their graduations, you celebrate them, you are there for them. It means that I want you to tell somebody, you don't need to go to the labor ward. You don't need to have your biological children to be able to father people. You can father people Just like you said, you fathered your brother, you bathed him, and you were there for him, you paid school fees. Tell people that with or without biological children, you can father. And I believe that Father's Day and Mother's Day, you don't miss anything because you are celebrated as a mother and you are celebrated as a father. Reverend Joe, before we go on a break.
Yes, like you said, we don't have biological children.
And I know your home is always full with people.
Yes, that's one of our daughters.
Wow.
Who is pregnant and she's with us. We are looking forward to have our grandchild.
Wow.
We don't have biological children, but parents have a pride in certain things they do for their kids.
Okay.
Like graduations that we are talking about. Mama Betty has gone to a lot of graduations where she's recognized as the mother of the graduate.
Wow.
And like I said before last week, there's a valedictorian who's one of our members, the father never went, the mother never went. Well, here. So Mama Betty had to go and she sat in the chair as the mother.
As the mother.
As the mother, and was given all the honors as the mother. I think that is every father's pride to walk the daughter on the aisle.
That's right.
And I say to the glory of God, I can't count the number. I have to even
Turn some down.
turn down most of them.
Wow.
In Maryland, when I came here first, people were inviting me to come walk them every
Wow.
time. I got to a point, I told my wife that I don't think I can be driving up and down to walk people.
Down the aisle.
Down the aisle because, Pastor Joe, I want you to walk me. I want you to walk me. What is more than this?
Wow.
And so the joy that comes with fatherhood, to me, I've experienced it all. We brought Pastor Gideon up as our own child. And so I didn't bring him up as my wife's brother.
Okay.
I disciplined him when he had to be disciplined.
Wow.
And so whatever I would have done to my child, I have done with him.
Wow.
And so I don't think I lack anything. And that's what sometimes when I'm counseling people, I tell them, don't think that you've not seen me having a biological child, so I cannot teach you how to bring up your child. I have had a first-hand experience.
Wow.
I've enjoyed every privilege as a father, and I don't miss anything at all. I rather appreciate God for giving me life up to this time and giving that honor to do it.
Mama Betty.
Yes, like mommy, you can love. There are a lot of people that walk through our doors that they have biological mothers, but they are not there for them.
Wow.
And the stories they tell us dealing with their biological mothers, sometimes I ask the question, are you sure this woman gave birth to you? No relationship at all.
Wow.
So sometimes I feel like...
let me break in a bit. My darling, I hope you are listening. You can have a biological child and not even have a relationship with that child.
Yeah.
There's no mother-daughter relationship. There's no mother-son relationship. Yet, you could have somebody who is not your biological child, and that mother-father, son or mother-daughter relationship with there, where the father-son and father-daughter relationship will be there. I saw my husband walk my daughter down the aisle during her wedding, and she wanted me to be part of it. She said, Mommy, I don't believe in just fathers walking their daughters down the aisle. I believe you and Daddy have done an equal job, and I want both of you to do it. It is like you are saying, the joy and the pride of every father is the joy and the pride of every mother to see their children marry. And this I have seen you do so many times. Mama Betty, please, sorry, continue. I'm really, really enjoying the two of you.
Yes, so I tell myself maybe God brought me to this point for a reason, because I know I'm not bragging, but I've impacted and I've accepted and adapted and welcomed people that have some weird relationship with their mother. That their mother will not be there to celebrate them. Their mother will not be there to just being there for them as a mother. I've had the opportunity and the privilege because I opened my heart to love. Sometimes women that are looking for children, they have resentment. And I thank God that He healed me from that. Proud to get in here when I preach my sermon, trusting God unconditionally. Proud to get in where I am right now by the grace of God through the Apostle General and Mama Rita and Royal House Chapel. Anytime I see a woman pregnant, I panic. Proud to this place. But then when God healed me, that is gone. So when I see you pregnant, I'm just joyous. Especially when I pray for you or I wear your crown for wedding or in it. I have a book that I have to pray for you till I see that you're pregnant. So that joy, that healing that God gave me has helped me to be able to love unconditionally and show them that if your mother is not there, I will be there for you. I will do whatever the mother has to do for you. And I think my church can testify to that.
Whew. It's getting interesting, but we'll have to go for a commercial break and we'll be back. I believe some people are getting emotional. We'll be back.
The World Movers Generation of Royal House Chapel presents Movers and Shakers Conference 2021. It is the annual gathering of youth from across the nation for a time of spiritual impartation. The theme for this year is Give Me the Key. Speakers Apostle General Sam Kranchi Ankra, Reverend Mrs. Rita Kranchi Ankra, and Bishop Charles Ajinosari. It is happening at the Oil Dome near Obechebi Lamte Interchange. The dates are Saturday 28th August from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Sunday 29th August, 2 services, morning service at 10 a.m. and evening communion and impartation service at 5:30 p.m. This conference will be live on Facebook at Sam Kranchi Ankra, on YouTube at Powerline TV, and on your favorite Christian television channel, Powerline TV. It is the Movers and Shakers Conference at the Oil Dome. You don't want to miss this unique encounter with God. Give me the key. Give me the key.
Welcome back to Family Life with Mama Rita. We went on just a short commercial break. If you are just joining us, my guest today is Reverend and Major Rita Joe Chum. I even forgot to introduce the two of you because I did it last week. I'm assuming that everybody knows you, but for all you know, new people are joining us today. Well, Reverend and Pastor Mrs. Jochum are the senior pastors in charge of our New York Mission Royal House Chapel, Latter
Rain Center.
Latter
Rain.
That Drew baby anameyabo. Latter Rain Center. They are the senior pastors there, and Mama Betty is the Royal Ladies President of Latter Rain Center, and they are doing so well. I mean, so well for what I have seen and what I saw this weekend. I'm telling you, there's a father and there's a mother in the house. Well, we are looking at children, marriages without children, and the marriages with children. And this is what I'm going to do within the show. I don't know how many weeks this will take me. If there's time, I'll come with some of, especially not biological children, because biological children will always have something to say about their parents. I'm going to come in with adopted children. I'm going to come in with stepchildren. I'm going to come in with people that have been raised, you know, to give us testimonies about the parents, to know that whether you have biological children or not, you can father a child and you can mother a child. So welcome to Family Life with Mama Rita. It's getting very emotional, but I'm really enjoying it. Mama Betty and Reverend Joe, I don't know if it's right to ask you this question, but most people have children not even for what they will give to the children. In other words, for the sake of bringing children into the world and taking care of them, and, you know, paying school fees and all that. Most people who have children are looking at the future. When I'm old, somebody to take care of me. When I'm old, somebody to help me. When I'm old, you know, people are rather looking at the future for themselves rather than the lives of the children. Do you ever sit down to think, when we are 80 years, we are 90 years, if we go beyond 90, who will be there for us? Do you ever think about that? Mama Betty, you first.
Naturally, sometimes that will cross your mind. From my own personal experience. So when I relocated here, I left my mom with my brother, Pastor Gideon, and life also brought Pastor Gideon here. And I have another sister.
The one after you.
The one after me that my mother gave birth to and raised. And so I was expecting that it's automatic, since the two of us are not here, that as your mother, that you take care of your mother. But that did not happen. I had to have meetings with her. I said, this is your mother, whether she's sick or not. She is your mother. You would have to live with her. Nobody can take care of your mother than you. But still, she did not agree to our proposal. And we had to look for somebody to take care of my mother while we were here. So I believe that whoever you help or raise or even invest in, it's not guaranteed that they will take care of you.
I like that.
It's not guaranteed, because I have a personal experience. So you just have to pray and trust God that even the people that you didn't birth them, but you have taken care of them, hopefully one day they will also help you when you need their help. But it's not always guaranteed that your biological children will take care of them. And I don't think I'm the only one that have that story. I've heard most stories that children are neglecting their parents.
Wow. I also know of, you know, stories that even people here, you see them in big mansions, big cars, they are eating, they are throwing food away, and they don't know what their parents are eating back home. I mean, they never, I know somebody, you know, we have a ministry of senior citizens, 65 years and above, and sometimes it's pathetic when these mothers and these fathers come to you and all they are asking for is food. And you know they have children. So why are your children? My children have neglected me. I don't even know where they are. Some of them are saying that my children are saying I am a witch. So they are not taking care of me. And these are, some of them are 80 years and above. And they live on their own. But for Royal House Chapel, that we pay some of them their rent, we pay medicals, and we get them food. I'm sure they'll be on the street or they'll be dead by now. So what you are saying is so true. that you can have a biological child, and the biological child will not be there for you. I know of a fact that there are many children that do not take care of their parents. But my darling, the Bible says that honor thy father and thy mother so that your days will be long. In other words, if you want to live, if you have to walk in perfect health, if God must give you long life, it depends on how well you take care of your aged parents. Your parents are there, you are eating. I'm in America, you are here in America, eating hamburger, throwing chicken away, throwing milk away. You are throwing parties here every week. I know people who are throwing parties here every week. People who are clubbing every week. Yet they don't care what their parents are eating back home. Your father's roof is leaking in the village. Go and repair it. Otherwise, God's wrath will come over you.
Yeah.
There's one thing I always say. When I had Nadrumo, my mother-in-law came to live with us. And I believe that God is blessing us because we took good care of my mother-in-law. She lived with me for 22 years before she passed away. No longer that even in her death, she's protecting us, she's covering us. The kind of dreams people are having over my mother-in-law protecting us, you have no idea. You have no idea. My parents are still alive. My father is alive. My mother is alive. And I keep telling my sister, I don't know how many more years they have. I won't wait for them to die to go and paint their house, read tribute, and go and cry crocodile tears. I won't wait. Today, when they cough, I am running. Whatever my parents need, as long as I can afford it, I would provide for them. Please, let's learn to honor them so that when they are going, they would also impart blessings upon us. I believe my mother-in-law left some blessings for us. I believe so much. After my mother-in-law left, our lives have not been the same. The church, not the same. Our anointing, not the same. Our blessings, not the same. My darling, if you are not taking care of your parents, go back. Don't wait for Mother's Day. Don't wait for Father's Day. Don't even wait for Christmas. Let them be part, just like you are taking care of your children today. Add your parents to it. Take good care of them. And trust me, when they leave, they won't just leave. They will leave with blessing. And after they leave, they become, especially if your parents die as believers, after they have left, they are not just gone. No. They are not gone. They become like guardian angels, fighting on our behalf. They are so close to God. So when they pray to God in heaven, God will hear and do it faster than you will pray here on earth. Reverend Joe, I know you want to add something to it. I'm talking about we looking at our future. You have no kids. 70 years and above, what happens? Are you thinking about it? And what are you doing in place? Now I am taking care of my parents. Somebody would say, maybe if my parents didn't have children, there would have been no one to take care of them. Are you thinking about your future in terms of what your children, your biological children, would have done for you in your old age?
Margaret said it just the way I was going to say. I believe that, of course, kids will take care of, we expect our kids to take care of us, but I don't fully believe that kids are security for your future.
That's right.
You can invest in your child as much as you want. The success of the child will depend, one, if you take care of you.
The success of the child.
Yes. And second, the child can be successful, but will not take care of you. So one is about prayers. That you pray that the Lord gives you good health. Number two, it's about yourself, that you plan for your future. Like my wife said, so you invest in your future, especially in this part of the world. You wouldn't need anybody if you plan very well to live a very good life. Number three, I have seen people who rather take care of their kids at an old age. Recently, a man was given a ticket. He's 90 years old.
Yeah.
And he came to the court and were given a ticket. He said, please, I was taking my child to the hospital. So the judge was like, you, how old are you? He said, I'm 90. How old is your child? He says, he's 60. So I have to take him for dialysis twice a week.
Wow.
Because he has kidney failure. I've seen people whose children have killed them.
Wow.
We saw one in Manhattan, we see one in Newton, Connecticut. And so to me, I'm not anxious about the future. That is in the hands of the Lord. And so what will happen to me in the future, I will do my humanly possible best by planning for my retirement here, and I leave the rest with God. So it's not something that I cross my mind sometimes, but it's not something that I sit down and brood upon and say, so when I grow old, who will take care of me? If I live a good life, I plan my retirement well, I'd rather be given to people, and I will live a better life. In her workplace, people come who are 90, who are still driving because they are healthy, they live in the house alone. I met a woman who was 99 years old, living alone, driving her Benz and happily.
Wow.
Because he planned her life well, and God has given her good health.
Wow.
So the future for me is not to brood upon. I rather enjoy my life as I live and leave the rest for God.
And don't you also think that as individuals, with or without children, because I always say that, and especially in our African proverb, nobody knows who will take care of you tomorrow.
Yes.
So, because we don't know who will take care of us tomorrow, it could be your biological children or it could be somebody else. Why don't you, with or without children, invest in the lives of people?
Yeah.
I believe that if you are investing in the lives of people, one person, I'm telling you, will be there for you. I know you people have been, you want to say something, have been investing in the lives of people.
Yes. Yeah. So so I want to use my mom as an example. So we have an adopted brother. That it was my mother's friend who, when she was dying, said, I don't even want the child's father to take care of him. I want you, my friend Mama Cons, to take care of this boy.
He was 4 years old.
He was 4 years, 2.
2 years old.
2 years old.
He was 2 years when my mother took him in and raised him and grew with my brother, Pastor Gideon. And it's amazing how you said that. So, long story short, this boy also traveled to Europe, went to school there. All of a sudden came to Ghana when Pastor Gideon was not there, came to live with my mother. When my mother's biological daughter was not there, the adopted son was there. And can you believe that it was the adopted son that my mother died in his hands?
Wow.
And he took very good care of my mother.
Wow.
He handled all the mortuary stuff, everything while we were here.
Wow.
So, like you said, if you invest in people, definitely they will remember. You will not say everybody will remember, just like even children of your own, not everyone will remember. But I believe that God will cause somebody, like he caused Pakwesi, to be there for my mother, and still that he only knows my mother as his mother. So investing in people is very critical.
Wow.
And for us, like even my houseboy that I used to live with, I mean, we took him like our son. We raised him, we paid his school fees, we married him. I mean, even if when
you married for him.
I mean, he went ahead and went and got a pregnancy, but we accepted them and did all the marriage rights for him. And so when he had his first,
we bought a coffee when the father died.
Wow.
Bought a coffee when the mother died.
Wow.
I mean, took over everything.
Wow.
and even his sister
Sister too.
too came to live with us. Married in our house. We gave her out from Yeah, so investing in people. So this boy,
and you were saying that your house boy, when he had his firstborn,
he said, he named her after me. Ben.
Wow. Wow. My darling, don't eat alone, no. Don't chop alone. And don't do me, my wife, and my children alone, or me, my husband, and my children alone. We know of people who had biological children. Their children were successful, but yet never took care of their parents. And we know of people who went out of their way to help people in the neighborhood, paid people's school fees, fed people. When they were old and their biological children were not there, those people were there for them.
Yeah.
My darling, invest in lives. If you eat alone, I don't want to continue. If you eat alone, the American will say you go to the bathroom alone, you go to the washroom alone. Invest in the lives of people. My darling, invest in the lives of people. Pick somebody off the street, pay somebody's school fees, feed somebody, clothe somebody. Tomorrow, after you have placed laughter on their faces, a smile on their face, and laughter in their mouth, tomorrow they would also be there to make you laugh and they will make you smile. What we are going to do is, last week there were so many questions we couldn't answer. I would do the attempt. I don't know how many more minutes I have left, but we will make the attempt to go through some of the questions. If I'm not able to finish, I would answer your questions next week. And let your questions keep coming, and we will answer them in due course. Reverend Joe and Mama Betty, somebody says, I've been watching the family life program for some time now. It has educated me a lot. God bless you.
Thank you.
And the person says, I am a married woman with 2 kids. I have been married for 7 years. For 7 years now. My husband hasn't been working for the past 5 years. And it's just been me helping out. He has left everything on me, leaving me sometimes frustrated and worn out. Sometimes I want to quit the marriage entirely. What do I do about this? People think that marriage is a bed of roses.
I know. Yeah.
So she's asking the question. Sometimes she feels like quitting. She's the only one. They've been married for 7 years. They have 2 kids. The man is not working. She's the only one who's been working for 5 years. And she feels so frustrated, and sometimes she wants to call it a quit. Reverend Joe, she's asking what she must do.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants you to tell her to quit.
I would have wished that I know why the man is not working in the first place. But I know there are situations where the men are lazy and wouldn't want to work because he thinks that what the woman is bringing in is enough. And so he doesn't have to do anything. Or he thinks that the woman is doing well and that being lazy, he doesn't want to bring in anything. But in such circumstances, as children of God, first you have to pray about this situation. But that is not the only thing you have to do. You need to now come in with some elders, because I believe she has sat down with the man and spoken to so much. But come in with the elders and now speak to him. If he doesn't do it, make your intentions known to him. That if things doesn't change, you are making a decision. For some men, that puts them on their feet. Because some men take women for granted. Because for women, because you have kids and you love your kids so much, they know that if they don't do it, you will kill yourself to do it.
Yeah.
And they take advantage of the love you have for the family. Secondly, sometimes you, the woman, want to cover the man's shame. So whatever happens, you try to pay the rent, you try to do it, and they take advantage of that. So you should sit down with him. If it's not working, you bring in an elderly, your pastor or something, and now end the conversation with that statement. But if things doesn't change, I'm making a decision. And this can cause a man to sit up. But I wish I knew why he hasn't worked for a long time. But if it's out of laziness, I think this is the right course to take.
Mama Betty, do you have anything to add to it?
Yes, I would like to add something. I mean, it can be very frustrating when it's just one income with family. So I pray that you're in, but because you are watching us, I believe that you are in church. So like Reverend Joe said, prayer is the key. Keep praying about it, but then sit your husband and have conversation with him, and like put things in place and say, honey, why, I mean, it's 5 years now. If you can go do something or get a job so that this family can live a little better, because when there's only one income, there's tension and the relationship even suffers. So it's important that the man goes out to work, but don't quit yet. There is hope with prayer and with conversation and just talking, and sometimes threatening that if you don't do this, then I'm going to make a decision. I've seen people, like a couple that we counsel, that the woman came to that point and now the man is out there looking to work. So it works that way.
You heard Reverend Joe and Mama Betty. Well, if the man is lazy, then please stop pampering him. But if the man is not lazy, but then he's not getting a job, I don't know where you send the message from, but these days, especially with the COVID, things are very tough in Ghana. So if the man is not getting a job, he's tried and he's not getting it, you need to make room for him. But then I always tell men who are not working, yes, you don't have a job, you are not working, but there's something you could do. You could be tidying up the house. You could be washing the dishes. You can be cooking. If by the time the woman comes from work, you have cooked, tidied up the house, laid the bed, supervise the children's school homework. I don't think that, she'll be that frustrated. I believe that she will go out there and work like she's working for two. But what is annoying, very, very annoying, is that she's the one bringing income home. She's the one who must cook. She's the one who must take care of the children. She's the one who must bathe the children. It can be very, very frustrating. So if your husband is lazy, call him before elders. If you belong to a church, call him before your pastor that you've had enough for 5 years, and that if he doesn't set up, you are going to divorce him. But then, if he's not working because he doesn't get a job, then please exercise a bit of patience and encourage him to do things in the house. We heard Reverend Joe last week that when he came into this country, for 6 months, he wasn't working. It was the wife's income. It was the wife who was taking care of the home. But as a wise husband, he also decided to do something. What he did was that he learned how to cook. So by the time his wife came home, there was food. I believe he was the one tidying up the home and all that. And this is not the first time I've heard such, a testimony. I believe that if both of you are helping each other, your wife will not be that frustrated. Thank you. Somebody says, Mama Rita, your program is so wonderful and sweet. So the person is talking about last week's program. Your program is so wonderful and sweet. I enjoy it very much. Wish to see you in person sometime. Thank you. If you want to see me, you would always get me in Royal House Chapel, Ahimfie. I don't know where you are sending a message from, but if you live in Accra, you can make time with me any Sunday after first service. You don't need an appointment to see me, please. If anybody comes to you and says you can't see Mama Rita, tell the person, I don't know whether you're a son or a daughter. I don't know whether it's a male or a female, but tell the person you are Mama Rita's daughter or Mama Rita's son through family life. Don't let anybody stop you from coming to me. There's another question. Please, my question is, how do you end a relationship? A, if you attend the same church and your children attend the same church. My partner and I have been together for 2 years and planning to get married early next year. Recently, I overheard a conversation with my partner and a lady. He had with a lady he had a child with 4 years ago. According to him, the lady refused to give the pregnancy to him at the time, but insisted he was responsible. I told him solve the problem with the lady. He already has 4 children from a previous marriage. Hey, and I have 1 daughter. My problem is my partner visits the lady every day and leaves her place very late. He never picks my calls when he gets there. This lady calls him every day, and they can talk for a long time, and even lies. I don't know, and even tell lies. I've tried, and I want to quit. So I think what she's saying is that they both belong to the same church, and their children, in other words, maybe his children and her children all belong to the same church. But then there's a woman that has come in between them. I think they are not I don't know whether they are married, because she didn't state it, whether they are married or they are just in a relationship. Please, when you ask your questions, be a bit clear and specific so that we will be able to answer it. So either they are married or they are not married, but the way she says it, as though they are married and somebody the husband had a child with is now coming in, and now she wants a quit and she doesn't know what to do. Yeah,
I think that the good thing, like you said, we are not very clear. But even if assuming they are married or not, the good place where you can have security, can have direction, is when you are in a church. And thankfully enough, they are in a church. So with this, you need to contact the elders of your church and then make all these things known to them. Because to me, I think that there's a danger the woman is entering into if she's not married yet. You understand? Because for a man to have 4 and now goes to go back with the one that he or she has with, then it means that he has not folded up in his last operations. And so you need to
folded
up in the last operation. Yes, please, before you go to a new lady, fold up your last operation.
Yes, and so this is a sign that if you enter into the relationship and it's established, you're going to get a lot of challenges. So if they are not married, I'm saying that he should not even get into it. Call the elders of the church, sit the man down. Don't go and say this is what he does, but everybody should be seated. And I know the man will deny what you are saying, but try to have your facts straight. And then if you're not married, end it there and do not step into it formally. Else you are going to put yourself in danger.
And if they are married?
If they are married, this is also the same thing. You see, sometimes we say that in church it is difficult. You don't have to get divorced and things. And for that reason, we make women stay in relationship where they have a lot of emotional abuse and leads to depression and now have mental health issues. In something like this, I believe that if she's stepping out of the relationship, it should be allowed, because we don't have to think that only when there's physical injury, then that is when people should be made to walk out of the. You know something, emotional injury, emotional abuse is more hurting, more dangerous, more devastating, and causes the woman to lose her self-esteem, and for some they can never gain it back. And so in such a situation, seeing that as a pastor, seeing that my my member is in such a situation, it's not going to affect her alone. It will affect even the children. Because one, the children will not have respect for marriage if they are girls. They will see how men do not. Most girls will say, I don't want to enter into marriage anymore. I don't want to get married. And people don't understand. It's how they've seen their parents or men treat their mothers. And so they decide not to go into it anymore. So for the safety of the kids and for their welfare and for their interest, I think that there should be a way. After speaking to him, if he's not stopping, they give him a benchmark. If he doesn't get to it, I think that it is proper for it to be dissolved.
Yeah. Now, talking about the emotional abuse, a lot of women find themselves in situations like that, and
especially in church.
And in church.
Wow.
And in church.
And the pastors are saying that
yes,
they can't divorce because
Yes.
God
hates divorce.
Yes, but then what happens is they end up getting stroke, they end up getting mental issues, and I don't think God, I believe that God hates divorce, but I also believe that God did not create us to get into a relationship that will kill us.
Yeah.
So you have to weigh. If this thing is going to kill you, then I think God doesn't want you to die in that relationship. I believe that when you are able to come out, God will give you somebody who will honor you and respect you. So I believe that even as a church, we shouldn't advocate that people live in the relationship, abusive relationship, till they die, and then we can't get them back. So it's very important.
People live in such relations, they even commit suicide. And after which we as a God, you're a Christian. And another thing is that women should be taught to bring out marital issues to their pastors and their leaders. For some women, they want to.
Please tell them.
I don't want. And if a man tells you, don't let anybody hear of us, it means that person is ready to abuse you. We don't want nobody to hear about our problem. If nothing at all, I tell my members, if nothing at all, your pastor should be told when you're having challenges, or the one who did premarital counseling for you. But if your husband is beating, say, I don't want anybody to hear about our business, and you say into it, you are going to die. And God doesn't like that. It's rather for you to walk out of it than to have commit suicide or be abused to the point of getting depression and getting mental issues.
So, my darling, this is a red flag. Your question was not too clear. If you are in the relationship and you are not married yet, my darling, this is a red flag. Advise yourself. If you are married and you are saying that both of you are in the same church, I believe that you have elders you can see to, you can go to them, you have counselors, and you can also go to your pastor. And I always say that if you belong to a church that the pastor is not matured enough to handle such issues, if you are in Accra, you can make your way to Royal House Chapel Ahimfie, and I can make any of our seasoned counselors handle you. Or if I'm available, I will handle you myself. I don't know how many more minutes we have, but we can take a question or two. And like I always say, don't worry if I don't answer your question. We will certainly answer them in other episodes. I have been living with this guy for 12 years. With just the knocking done. And we have 4 kids at the moment. Mommy, nowadays, let me first tell them what knocking is. I don't know if this happens in every part of Africa, but in the Ghanaian tradition, before the traditional marriage, you do what we call knocking. Knocking is just introducing yourself to the bride's parents that, this is my girlfriend I am going out with. Please allow me, and I hope a lady is listening. Knocking means that permission from your parents to make him go out with you, to start courtship. That is knocking. Knocking is not marriage. So knocking is the first one we do before the traditional marriage. These days, what people even do is that on the day of the traditional marriage, they do everything. They do the knocking and then they can go ahead with a traditional marriage. But others decide to do the knocking first for one reason. Number one, either the lady is pregnant and you want to officially let the parents know that, oh, I am the one responsible. This is something I'm using to knock to say that if I'm given the permission, I will come in to perform the other rites. Or she's not pregnant, but then I want your permission as parents to start seeing your daughter. So this is what knocking is about. Some people do not know knocking. They don't understand what knocking is. After the knocking, they just move on and then they leave with the men. So the gentleman is saying that, Mommy, nowadays the lady, at the slightest provocation, he rains all insults on me. My greatest worry now are the kids. And I also do not want to destroy their future. Please, what do I do? I don't know if the children have a future
right now
under such circumstances.
Yeah.
So she said she doesn't know what to do, number one. She's been living with a man for 12 years with just a bottle of alcohol. They have, I don't know how many children, 4 children, and now the man keeps raining insults on her and she doesn't know what to do. And all she's thinking about is the children.
Can I answer? Okay.
Mama Betty.
Sure. Like Mama Rita explained what knocking is. So knocking is not the actual marriage. So allowing herself to stay in there and 4 children, I believe that's why the man is taking advantage of her. So if the proper thing could be done by talking to the man to actually perform all the marriage rites and to have the full marriage, and I believe that when that happens, I'm sure there's going to be some respect. I don't know what the situation of the man is if he doesn't want to just go ahead with it, but to live with a woman for 12 years and not marry the woman, that is, it leaves much to be desired. And I'm sure that she's thinking about the kids, but already the kids are in bad state already. So it's up to her to make a very firm decision. It's either you're going to marry me, or if not, then I'm going to take my kids. And we have ways to raise the kids. I mean, your involvement and your contribution to raise the kids, and so that she can move on instead of staying there and being abused again in these circumstances. That's my take on that.
Reverend Joe.
Yeah, I first will say that if something doesn't cost a person, the person doesn't value it.
I like that. Please
so,
repeat it.
If something doesn't cost a person, the person wouldn't value the thing.
I like that.
And so the way with which the man got the woman, that it didn't cost him much, and so he doesn't place value on it. And the woman allowing herself to go that far doesn't place value on it. And I want to take this opportunity to put out some points for women. You see, when you are courting and when you're in a relationship, dating before you get into marriage, you should have your own values that you put on the table. This is who I am, this is what I want, and this is how I want to do my things. If you don't place your values on the table, you follow the value of your partner. And so for this one, I believe that she didn't put any of value on it, that she values marriage, that marriage should be blessed, that things should be done before I have issues with you. And so now she's not living the life that she wants, but she's living the life of that man. And so she's walking in the shadows of that man, and the man will not give you that respect. And so if the man has not done the necessary thing that he has done, and he's not showing you any respect, I believe that at this point she's getting fed up. At this point she's realizing who the mistake she's done. And like my Betty said, it is time for her to sit up, have a discussion with the man, And if the man is not ready to give her that honor and dignity as a wife, then she has every right to walk away with the kids, and then the man held responsible and participate in the upbringing of the kids.
That's good.
But it says, why do I buy the whole cow if I can get the milk for free?
Eh?
Yes. Yes.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
So the man is taking advantage of her.
Definitely.
Our time is up, but I want to take just 2 short questions. Somebody says, Mama, I have one boy with a lady. We stayed together for 6 years now. We now want to make things right. God bless this gentleman for making things right. We now want to make things right. Mama, please, do we have to use 2 rings or 1? Safas from Sogakope. Safas from Sogakope. Normally, this is what happens. Biblically, if you don't pay your tithes, there's a pastor here, if I'm lying. If you don't pay your tithes and you decide to pay it, it means that you owe God.
Yes. I teach that.
You teach that?
Yes.
So what percentage do you add to it?
20%.
You add 20%. This is something a lot of Christians don't know.
Yeah.
Or they know it and they refuse to know it.
Right.
So if you owe God for 2 months and you decide to go and settle with God, just like when you owe somebody, you owe the bank, you don't go and give the money, you add interest to it. In God's legal term, you must pay God interest by adding 20%. So if you've been married to this woman for 6 years, you haven't done anything, not even knocking, and now you want to get married, you need to do things right. 2 rings. 1 is the traditional marriage. So anybody that sees this ring, my first one, shows that traditionally my husband doesn't owe my family. He's done everything that he needs to do traditionally. My father can't come and say you owe me. He's performed every right. So this is the traditional ring. So you need this one when you do what we call engagement in Ghana. That is the traditional marriage. And if you want to only do the traditional marriage, which is considered as legal marriage in Ghana, then all you need is just this ring. And I don't know who designed it, but it is round with a stone on it. And anybody with this stone means that the person is legally, traditionally married. Then, if you want to do the white wedding, which I don't even call the white wedding, you want to do blessings, or what the legal people would say, type 3. We used to call it the marriage of ordinance, but now we are taught that it's type 3. If you want the type 3, then you need a second one. Actually, the second one looks like a wedding ring, but this is not my wedding ring. Unfortunately, I can't find my wedding ring.
I think we'll kill you.
You know what I did? I cleaned it nicely. And I said I wasn't going to wear it until my daughter's wedding.
Oh.
I hid it somewhere.
Now you can't find
it. Now I can't remember where I hid the thing, but I know it's there. I mean, it's not lost, but I cleaned it nicely, and when the thing came, the way the thing was shining, I said, this one, I won't wear it until my daughter gets married. And unfortunately, I didn't get to wear it. So this one can't be a wedding ring. So I'm using it as my wedding ring. But actually, this is a ring my husband gave me on our 25th wedding anniversary. He said he wanted to marry me again. So this one means that married for life. I can't go anywhere. He can't go anywhere. Our souls are knitted together forever. So, but this one, I would say is luxury, or when you are married for so many years and now you want to make your wife happy, to let her know that, listen, if I even die and there's anything like coming back to the world, I am not marrying anybody else. I am marrying you. You give this one, which we call eternity. But you don't really need this. So all you need is the 2 rings. You need the traditional one, and then you need the legal one. Traditional is also legal by the laws of Ghana. But you need what we say, the type 3. Type 3 means that 1 husband, 1 wife. The traditional one means that your husband can marry 100 if he wants to. But the type 3 means that after we do the type 3, you can't marry anybody else except your wife. So my gentleman from Sogakope, Cephas from Sogakope, I think you need the 2. But what people don't know is that we have very cheap rings. You don't need to get very expensive ones. And when my husband and I got married, my husband would say that what we used was something below, it was even below copper. And I used it for 10 years. It was so cheap, but that is what we could afford at the time. My darling, if you see me today and you envy me, I always say it, you are just envying me. I've suffered before. I've suffered before. My engagement, I did it twice. That's what people don't know.
Yeah.
The first one my husband brought, it was his trunk and his shortboards from school. The cloth was borrowed. My diary was checked, he got from somebody. But one thing my husband did that I will forever honor him. 3 years after we married, he said to me, let's go, let me see your parents. I said, what for? He didn't tell me anything. He said, I want to see your parents. And in those days, if your husband says, I want to see your parents, that means that you have done something. And you are going to be reported. So I said, have I done anything? He said, follow me. We went there. When I got there, I was shocked. Family members were gathered. What was it? My husband said 3 years ago, the traditional marriage he did, he didn't do it well. So he's coming to do it again. The cloth he didn't bring, he's bringing it. The suitcases he didn't bring, he's bringing it. The diary that he didn't bring, he's bringing it. I was crying, my parents were crying, my siblings were crying. So, my darling, I always tell people, cut your coat according to your size. And the women must understand. If you want to be married the right way, you must understand the pocket of your husband. If he doesn't have, let him do what he can afford it. So what we did, our first engagement wasn't good. The ring was even coming from my mom. It was my mom's engagement ring. Yeah. That is what she removed, and we went to do it. Wow. But in those days, the ring was big, but the man added, I don't know what they add to it, whether plenty copper to it. So I wore the thing a week after the thing was faded. But that's all we could afford. So I used that ring for 10 years. Then after 10 years, God blessed me. And then my husband changed the rings. And I used that ring for another 15 years. And then finally, 25 years in marriage, I got this. I don't think this one I will change. This one will be for life. Well, I don't know. So please, if your husband can't afford it, let him buy what he can. If you are in Ghana, there are rings in Mokola, copper rings. They are not expensive. Wear it the first few years, and then when God blesses you, you could go ahead and then get new ones. I thought I could take a second question, but it looks like our time is, oh my God. This question, as for this question, I'll leave my co-host to ask this question. The question is deep. we will go into it next week. But Reverend Joe and Mama Betty, thank you so much. I have really, really enjoyed you. And when the thing is getting nice, I don't even look at the time.
Yeah.
And I think I've gone beyond my time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
May God bless you.
Amen.
May the God of your father, the God of the Apostle General, the God of Sam Kranchiankra, whom you serve and you have served, may that God bless you.
Amen.
Latter rain, may the latter rain fall over your life. You would never lack, you would never want. Even in your old age, the people that you have taken care of, the people that you have invested in, will be there for you. Thank you so much. From the studio or the studios of Royal House Chapel, New York, Latter Rain Center, I say God bless you and have a good night. My darling, next week we are all flying back to Ghana. You flew in with me. I don't know which airport you came through, but I think your time is up and you need to go back to Ghana. So we are all going back to Ghana next week. Next week, I will be in the studio of Royal House Chapel, Ahifie. God bless you and I love you. From all the team of Latter Rain Center, we say God bless you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The World Movers Generation of Royal House Chapel presents Movers and Shakers Conference 2021. It is the annual gathering of youth from across the nation for a time of spiritual impartation. The theme for this year is Give Me the Key. Speakers, Apostle General Sam Kranchi Ankra, Reverend Mrs. Rita Kranchi Ankra, and Bishop Charles Ajinosari. It is happening at the Oil Dome near Obechebi Lamte Interchange. The dates are Saturday 28th August from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Sunday 29th August, 2 services, morning service at 10 a.m. and evening communion and impartation service at 5:30 p.m. This conference will be live on Facebook at Sam Kranchi Ankra, on YouTube at Powerline TV, and on your favorite Christian television channel, Powerline TV. It is the Movers and Shakers Conference at the Oil Dome. You don't want to miss this unique encounter with God. Give me the key.